All right, let's talk about that moment. You know the one. Your head hits the pillow, you are so ready for sleep, and suddenly your mind decides to run a marathon. Today, we're getting into why that happens. You know the feeling. It's late, you're exhausted, and out of absolutely nowhere, your brain just drops this massive philosophical question on you that you have no way of answering. Or hey, how about an age-old paradox that has stumped people for centuries? Why now? Why is your brain doing this when all you want to do is just sleep? Look, if this happens to you, your mind just flooding with random thoughts, worries, replaying conversations, I want you to know you are so not alone. This is incredibly common. So what is going on here? Why does this always seem to happen at night of all times? Well, let's dive in and explore the science behind why our brains get so busy right when we want them to be quiet. So the first big reason is actually kind of fascinating, and it has a less to do with what your brain is doing and a lot more to do with what it's not doing anymore. Just think about your day for a second. Your brain is basically a master filter, right? It's juggling work, your phone is buzzing, there's noise. It's just in this constant state of high alert, filtering everything out. And then, boom, you lie down in a dark, quiet room. All of that external noise just vanishes. And guess what rushes in to fill the silence? All those thoughts, those worries, those little ideas you've been pushing to the back of your mind all day, they finally get their moment on center stage. You know, this is the exact same reason people say they get their best ideas in the shower. When you're in that quiet, isolated space, it becomes the perfect incubator for your brain to finally make some connections. But wait, it's not just about the lack of distractions. There's also something really incredible happening inside your brain itself. It's like it's switching gears for the night shift. Yeah, so during the day, your brain is in what you could call focus mode. It's all about managing tasks and filtering stuff out. But at night, it switches over to connect mode. And instead of filtering, it starts forming new neural pathways and connecting ideas in brand new, sometimes unexpected ways. This whole thing is called pattern recognition. There's this part of your brain called the default mode network, and it basically takes over when your conscious mind finally takes a break. It's a master connector. It's why you suddenly figure out the solution to a problem you've been stuck on all day. It's linking things that didn't seem related before. And really, what it boils down to is this. A top neuroscientist put it perfectly. We're only really aware of a tiny, tiny fraction of our thoughts. The rest of it, it's all happening subconsciously. And bedtime is when those floodgates just open up. So you gotta think of it less like a bug and more like a feature of how our brains are wired. Okay, so that's the why, which is cool to know, but not super helpful when you have to be up in 6 hours, right? So let's get practical. How do we actually quiet things down and get some sleep? All right, first things first, let's talk about what not to do. Because a lot of the common advice, grabbing your phone, turning on the TV, it actually makes things worse. You're just bringing more stimulation into the bedroom, turning your place of rest into a place of activity. So here's a fantastic strategy. It's called a thinking time buffer. Instead of fighting those racing thoughts, give them a scheduled appointment. Seriously. If you want to be asleep by 11, maybe get into bed at 10. That gives your mind a whole hour to just go for it, wander, worry, wonder, totally guilt-free. You're giving it the space it's asking for, but on your schedule. Another huge one is creating a pre-sleep ritual. Something simple, something you do every night. A warm bath, reading an actual physical book, some deep breathing. These things are like signals you're sending to your brain and body that say, hey, the day is over, it's time to power down. Okay, but what if you've done all that and you're still just lying there, wide awake and getting frustrated? Don't just stay there. Get up, break the cycle, get out of bed for just a few minutes, walk around in some low light, and then go back. It can work like a mental reset button. But after all these strategies and tricks, the most powerful tool might just be the simplest one, and it comes from right inside your own head. And that brings us to the last and maybe the most crucial piece of the puzzle. Your own voice. Using positive self-talk. So when your brain throws a problem at you at 1 a.m., don't try to ignore it, acknowledge it, and then literally tell yourself, yep, that's a valid concern, we will deal with that tomorrow. See, this isn't about pushing your thoughts away. It's about scheduling them. Just giving yourself permission to not have to solve the world's problems right now, that act alone can be so incredibly calming. It lets your brain finally rest. So the next time your mind decides to run a marathon at midnight, just remember it's not broken. It's just doing its job. And more importantly, you have the tools to help guide it towards some quiet. Which leaves us with one last question for you. What's the absolute strangest, most random thing your brain has ever asked you right before you drifted off to sleep?